Your Honor, I'm sorry I'm late. I got a little bit confused. I thought that this was a hearing scheduled next week that I'm covering for Mr. Kerr. So,
No problem. We'll start.
We're on the record, Judge.
Next case scheduled is State of Kansas Plaintiff versus Devon Mitchell. Defendant. Case number is 21 CR 139. This matter was scheduled today. I'm going to call it a status hearing, counsel. Counsel, your appearances, please.
Okay, please, the court, the state appears through Assistant County Attorney Carissa Brinker.
Mr. Mitchell is by video. Also appearing is Steve Ariano. I'm appearing on behalf of Kurt Kearns, who's entering on Mr. Mitchell's behalf.
Okay, and I would state for the record, this hearing is being conducted by Zoom video conference and being broadcast live on YouTube. Counsel, I had this hearing scheduled as last Monday was a hearing to see if Mr. Mitchell had retained counsel. Shortly before that hearing, the court did receive the entry of appearance from Mr. Kearns. I was planning on having the hearing anyway, just to talk about a couple of issues, but I believe court staff may have canceled the hearing, so I asked to be set today just to go over a few issues. The first is, I believe we are scheduled for a preliminary hearing 1 week from today, starting at 2 p.m. For the balance of the day. So first question is, counsel, does that date and time work for your calendars?
Your Honor, I suspect on behalf of Mr. Kearns for the defense that that's probably not going to be a good date for him. He's coming back from, I think he's on an airplane today, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So I think he'll need a little more time to prepare for the preliminary hearing.
And Judge, we're still waiting on a couple things such as the autopsy in this case. So if we aren't able to get that information by then, we'd obviously have to ask for a continuance too. I suspect we'll be able to get that before the end of the week, but.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is both parties are needing to continue this preliminary hearing date.
Sounds like that's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, do we have calendars available for Mr. Kearns?
Yep, his legal assistant just walked in. She's sitting here next to me.
And the second question is, we're still scheduling preliminary hearings by Zoom video conference unless there's a request otherwise. So I don't know if Mr. Kearns or you, Mr. Ariano, have had the chance to visit with Mr. Mitchell about his desire in that regard.
We have not had an opportunity to visit with Mitchell, but I suspect Mr. Kearns' preference to do it in, rather than by Zoom.
Okay.
Mr. Mitchell was trying to say something and.
I noticed his screen has been muted, so we may have to ask the jail to unmute it.
Okay.
And Judge, the state was actually going to ask for it to be in person too if Mr. Kearns wasn't going to request that.
Hey, this is Terry. Mr. Mitchell was trying to say something. We need him unmuted.
Mr. Mitchell?
They're getting in there
Mr.
to unmute it.
Let me ask, Mr. Mitchell, were you just going to ask for it to be an in-person? Can you nod yes or no if that was what you wanted to ask about? Mr. Mitchell, can you hear me?
I think he's wanting to. We'll wait. Mr. Ariano, I can place you and Mr. Mitchell in a breakout room if that would be better.
I think that'd probably be a better idea because I don't know what he's asking about.
Okay,
So
just a
I
second,
appreciate
Mr.
that.
Mitchell. I'm going to place you in a breakout room with Mr. Ariano, okay? All right, follow the prompt, please. It should say join, and then I'll allow Mr. Ariano and Mr. Mitchell to speak privately.
Very
All right, for the record, Mr. Ariano and Mr. Mitchell have been placed into a breakout room on the Zoom application so they can speak in private. At this time, let's go off the record.
Okay, Judge, we're done.
Okay, it takes about a minute to get it closed out, so
Yes, sir.
we'll be back on the record here when Mr. Mitchell joins us.
And he just had questions about what this hearing was about and all that, so.
Sure.
So we're only looking for a full day, prelim, time to review discovery and all that, so. What dates are you looking at? Like 45 days out? Judge, will probably be 45 days out for Kurt to have an opportunity to get discovery.
Okay.
And review it all and have, his calendar, because he's been in Africa for 60 days here.
All right, let's get back on the record.
On the record, Judge.
All right, we are back on the record now. The appearances are the same as previously announced. We had taken a brief recess to allow Mr. Ariano and Mr. Mitchell to speak privately in a breakout room in the Zoom application. They have now rejoined the Zoom meeting. We are back on the record. Mr. Ariano, did you and Mr. Mitchell have sufficient time to talk about any issues?
We did, Your Honor. One of the things we talked about was wanting an in-person hearing. Mr. Mitchell was asking for that as well, at least in part because he indicates the audio that's not great. So.
Okay. All right, both parties have requested an in-person hearing. So counsel, the next question is, we had this scheduled for an afternoon setting. How much time do you think this will take?
Judge, I would anticipate it would at least take half a day. I'm not sure, obviously, I haven't had any contact with Mr. Kern, so I'm not sure how that would go with prelim, but I believe that at least our stuff would probably take close to half a day, given the number of witnesses. And
I think, given that, I would say probably with cross-examination, you're probably talking about a full day hearing.
Yep, I would imagine.
And obviously, he's got to get up to speed on discovery, so I was thinking 45 days,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
Terry, if we have like a Wednesday, we may have to set aside a Wednesday.
Judge, we can set aside any Wednesday in April. June 2nd would be after a holiday, and plus that's the first Wednesday of the month. June 9th, we could scratch off all day for it.
We're looking.
Council will check your schedules on those dates.
because I'm needing to check the jury trial lists, because I know we will be doing trials at that point.
And I like Kurt is scheduled for a jury trial June 9th.
Did you check June 2nd?
Available June 2nd, Judge.
Judge, can I call my assistant real quick to see if she has anything on what those trials might be?
Yes.
We're looking at June 2nd right now, Judge, right?
Yes. Plan to start at 9 a.m. for the balance of the day.
Okay. Judge, and that's your day at 3:30, usually
That'll be fine.
municipal. Okay.
Judge, it looks like I am free on that date, and it appears that Miss Aranda is available and can be available on that date.
Okay, so June 2nd, we'll start at 9 a.m. For the balance of the day for the preliminary hearing. All right, counsel, is there anything else we need to take up today?
Not on behalf of the defense. Thank you, sir.
No, Judge.
All right, counsel, I do appreciate you appearing today. I know your time is valuable, so I'm gonna get these issues resolved. Mr. Mitchell, is there something I can try to answer?
Yeah, did you say that the court date was on the 9th or the 2nd?
Second, June 2nd, starting at 9 a.m., and that is an in-person hearing in courtroom 5 at Lyon County Courthouse, okay?
Wait, what courthouse again?
Lyon County, where you're at.
Okay, okay, all right, cool, yeah, thanks.
All right, we'll be in recess. Thank you, everybody.
Very good. Thank you, Judge.
You might need to let the jail know we're finished.
Will. Oh,
We're finished. We're in recess.